When someone you care about pulls away, the world offers a chorus of well-meaning but hollow advice: she doesn't care. Just move on. But what if that's not the whole story? What if her silence isn't a sign of confidence, but of fear? She might not be ignoring you because she's moved on, but because she's watching, waiting to see if you're still trapped, still desperate, still playing her game. The second you react, you prove her right. But today, that game ends. This isn't just about a relationship, it's about control, power, and respect. It's about how you respond when someone tries to test you. Today, you'll learn how to use silence not as a passive retreat, but as a weapon, a calculated, controlled silence that flips the script and makes her question everything. By the end of this, you'll never chase anyone again. She's waiting for you to react. Millions of people fall into the same trap every day. Someone they care about grows distant, and suddenly, everything changes. They find themselves glued to their phone, overthinking every interaction, and analyzing every pause. And every single time, they do exactly what's expected: they react. This is the problem. In any dynamic, whether in business or relationships, power is everything. The moment you react, you give up control. The moment you chase, you lose value. The moment you show someone how much their absence affects you, you hand them all the leverage. This is why powerful people never react. They observe, they adapt, and when someone tries to play games, they go silent. She pulls back, delays her replies, becomes distant, or is suddenly too busy. She's waiting for a reaction, that little break in your self-control. The moment you slip and ask her what's wrong, you prove that she still has control. She knows she hasn't lost you, which means she can continue to test how much you'll tolerate. Most men fail this test. They panic and reach out first. They double text. They apologize for things they didn't even do. She doesn't respect this, she expects it. She's testing to see if you're the kind of man who needs her validation to feel whole. The moment you show her you do, it's over. Now, she's not just pulling back, she's running. Why? Because you just told her that her attention is your lifeline. Women don't chase men who fall apart, they chase men who are unbothered whether they stay or go. Your silence breaks her control. She might think she has you figured out. She expects you to react, to prove your worth, to pull her back. But when you don't, when you go completely silent, she starts to feel something new: doubt. Doubt is what breaks her confidence. It makes her question everything she assumed about you. Did I misjudge him? Is he actually moving on? Did I just lose a man who was worth keeping? Doubt is what brings her back. But by the time she realizes this, it's already too late. The version of you who would have chased no longer exists. You have become the one thing she fears the most, a man she cannot control. Silence is a powerful tool. It's why people struggle to be alone and why they drown themselves in distractions. When you go silent, you force her to face herself. She expected you to chase. Now, she's checking her phone more than you are. She's looking for signs that you still care, scrolling through old texts and replaying conversations, trying to find the moment she lost her grip. She might post a picture with another guy or go out with her friends to make you jealous, but deep down, she's waiting to see if it worked. When the notification never comes, the panic sets in. The power has shifted. This is where most men make the biggest mistake. She'll send a vague text like, "Hey, hope you're doing good," just to see if you'll take the bait. The weak man replies instantly, thinking he's won. But the moment she sees that fast reply, she knows she still has you and disappears again. She was never coming back for you, she was coming back for her ego. She just needed to know you were still waiting. The strongest response is no response at all. A woman who truly wants to come back will put in the effort. She won't send a lazy text, she will make it clear that she regrets losing you. Until that happens, remain silent. Silence creates doubt, and doubt is what makes her chase. By the time she's ready to chase, you've already built your life without her. You've focused on yourself, built a stronger mindset, and a level of confidence that no longer depends on her presence. The man she was testing is gone, and the new version of you is untouchable. Master emotional detachment. Everything changes the moment you detach. The moment you stop seeking approval, stop chasing, and stop trying to prove your worth, you become truly free. Detachment is the highest form of power. It's the difference between a man who lives on his own terms and a man who spends his life reacting to the emotions of others. If you don't master this, you'll always be at the mercy of someone else's decisions. You'll be the one overthinking, obsessing, and suffering. You've been conditioned to believe that the only way to prove your worth is by getting her back. But the brutal truth is, you don't need to win her over. What you need is to let her go. Because the moment you do, you take back every ounce of power you lost. Women don't chase emotionally weak or desperate men who constantly seek validation. They chase strength, certainty, and the man who doesn't need them. The moment you don't need her anymore, you become a challenge, something rare. You become the man she regrets losing, not the one she felt comfortable walking away from. This isn't about playing games or manipulation, it's about showing yourself that you don't need her validation to feel whole. Once you master this mindset, it's not just about her anymore, it's about everything. Every relationship, every friendship, every interaction. When people realize they can't control you, they start treating you with a different level of respect. They see you as someone to be valued because in today's world, most people are weak, chasing, and desperate for attention. But not you. The real prize was never her attention, the real prize was the man you became when you stopped seeking it. The silent power of self-mastery. You've just crossed a threshold most men never reach, not because they're not capable, but because they've never been told the truth. The truth is simple, but not easy. You win not by reacting, but by mastering your response. You don't reclaim your power by chasing her, you reclaim it by becoming so grounded in your self-worth that her attention, or lack of it, no longer defines your reality. That's the real transformation. That's the victory no one can take from you. This journey isn't about revenge, pettiness, or manipulation. It's about emotional sovereignty. When someone ignores you, they're testing the borders of your mind. They're checking to see where your strength ends and your desperation begins. But the man who stays calm, who doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, and doesn't break, is a man who holds the keys to his own kingdom. Because silence isn't passive. It's not weakness. It's not surrender. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. Silence is the language of kings. When she ignores you, she assumes you'll seek clarity. She assumes you'll ask, "What's wrong?" or "Did I do something?" But when you remain still, when you carry on as though nothing is missing, you interrupt the narrative she was scripting in her mind. That confusion. That anxiety she suddenly feels. That's the emotional mirror you just handed her. And here's what happens next, she starts questioning herself. The silence she weaponized against you becomes the silence that haunts her. Suddenly, your absence is louder than your presence ever was. This is the part she didn't expect, the moment where her game collapses, not because you fought back, but because you simply refused to play. And make no mistake, people like her aren't used to that. They're used to men who beg for answers. Men who get emotional. Men who crumble at the first sign of withdrawal. But you're not that man anymore. You've stepped into a different frame, one governed not by emotional reactivity, but by stoic power. And that changes everything. The man who stands alone. Let's make something brutally clear, a woman can't destroy a man who doesn't depend on her. She can try to wound his pride, but she can't touch his purpose. She can ghost, ignore, test, and disappear, but if that man is anchored in his mission, his values, and his peace, then she has no power. You are that man now. You've been tested. You've tasted emotional uncertainty, but you didn't fold. You chose silence. You chose presence. You chose not to beg, not to chase, not to explain. You chose yourself. That is a dangerous kind of strength, not just to her, but to anyone who tries to manipulate you in the future. Because you're no longer living from the outside in. You don't measure your worth based on who shows up or who leaves. You measure it based on how deeply rooted you are in your own self-respect. Think about that. A man who can sit in silence without seeking validation, a man who can walk away from emotional games without bitterness, a man who is loyal to his peace more than he is to anyone's approval, that man is a force of nature. And guess what? That's you now. She will return. But that's not your victory. You may be wondering, will she come back? The answer is, probably. Not because she had a change of heart, but because she'll eventually feel the void your absence created. That's the irony, the moment you stop needing her is the moment she starts needing your energy again. But by then, you'll have changed. You won't see her the same way. You won't feel that burning desire to prove your worth or recapture her attention. You'll see her attempts for what they are, ego trips. Power plays. Half-hearted tests to see if you're still emotionally available for her convenience. And you'll respond with what she never expected, silence and indifference. Not out of spite. But out of evolution. Because the man she left behind has died. And in his place stands a man with emotional boundaries so strong, even her best manipulation tactics can't penetrate them. That's your true win, not her return, but the irrelevance of her return. A new standard for all relationships. When you understand the power of silence, it doesn't just change how you deal with one woman, it changes how you deal with everyone. You stop arguing to be understood. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't care. You stop breaking your own standards just to feel wanted. From this moment forward, you're not just a man in a romantic situation, you are a man with presence. A man who commands respect without demanding it. A man who moves with such calm, such emotional discipline, that people feel your strength even when you say nothing. And when you carry yourself like that, you attract different energy. People treat you differently. Women treat you differently. Life opens up in ways you never thought possible, not because the world changed, but because you did. The man she can't manipulate. Let's be real, most modern relationships are built on a war for control. And in that war, the person who stays calm wins. The person who is willing to walk away, wins. The person who is the least emotionally reactive, wins. You win by refusing to be moved. You win by making your peace more valuable than her attention. You win by never explaining why you went silent, because the real ones already know, and the manipulators don't deserve an explanation. So from now on, when someone pulls back, you pull back further. When they ghost, you disappear. When they test you, you don't respond. Because your silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It's the sound of a man who no longer begs to be chosen. It's the voice of a man who knows that if they wanted to, they would. And since they didn't, you move on. With grace. With dignity. With a calm so loud it echoes in their mind long after you're gone. Final words, become untouchable. You don't need her to come back. You don't need closure. You don't even need to prove anything. Your silence already proved it all. It proved that you are no longer a prisoner to emotion. It proved that your heart belongs to you, not to the games of others. It proved that your self-respect is louder than any attention you didn't receive. So walk forward now, not with bitterness, but with power. Let her wonder. Let her regret. Let her realize what she lost. But you don't wait. You rise. You grow. You evolve. Because the man who walks in silence is not weak, he's unstoppable. And from now on, that's exactly who you are.